to Bus Notes. I'm Vinnie Nardiello. I'm a teacher and I'm a comedian, and I know what's going on. You're sitting on the bus right now. Your friend told you about a test that you have first period. You haven't read the book. You haven't studied it all, but don't worry. We got you covered. It's Bus Notes. Okay, so today we're looking at Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. In our last episode, we talked about Great Gatsby, a booming time in America in the 1920s. However, after the boom comes the bust. This is the story of the bust. It takes place during the Great Depression, a dark time in America caused by failing banks and a crashing stock market. Your Great Depression is caused by the fact that you didn't bother to read a book this short. Look at this. It's 107 pages, and you didn't read. But don't worry, I don't judge. Here's 5 things that you'll need to know to convince your teacher that you read Of Mice and Men. Number 1, people to know. Okay, the 2 big ones to know, of course, are George and Lenny. They're a pair of farmhands, they're best friends, and they're on the run. George looks after Lenny, and Lenny has done something wrong. And now they're in California, they're looking for farm work. The reason George looks after Lenny is because Lenny is, as they say in the book, they'll call him something like simple-minded, but he's actually mentally handicapped. George is tasked with looking after Lenny. He loves Lenny, but it's a difficult task to have to always look after Lenny and make sure he's not being taken advantage of and to get him out of trouble. The trouble that Lenny often winds up in is he has a bad habit. He has a bad habit of being very, very affectionate with small animals and petting them too hard. He's a big guy. He doesn't know his own strength, and he winds up petting these animals so hard that he often winds up killing them, unfortunately. So they're in California, they're at a new farm, and we meet all the ranch hands on the farm. The 2 big ones to know are Candy and Crooks. So Candy is old. Then we have Crooks. Crooks is black. Now these 2 guys are both outcasts for being old and being black, and Lenny and George also feel like outcasts. We also have our main bad guy, Curly. Curly is the boss's son. He's a small man, he's an angry man, and he bullies and picks on Lenny. So finally then we have Curly's wife. Now Curly's wife doesn't have a name. She's just Curly's wife. Some people think that Steinbeck is sexist because he doesn't bother naming her, but it's really more of a statement. He's saying that for a woman here on the ranch, she doesn't even have any kind of identity. There's no point in anybody even knowing her name. She's just Curly's wife, and unfortunately, that's all she's going to be. Number 2, archetypes. Okay, an archetype is a typical character. So Steinbeck was looking at the different people in America in the 1930s and what was happening to each particular group during the Depression. Okay, so you have people like Lenny. Lenny is the innocent who believes in America, the innocent that believes that good things are going to happen, okay? Maybe he's innocent, maybe he's a fool, however you want to look at it. Then we have George. George is the everyman just trying to make it. He has nothing extraordinary about him. He has no particular talents. He's just trying to make it in the world. Curly is the small man. By small, I mean small of character. In this case, Curly's small of stature, but he's talking about people who are small of character, that look to abuse others to make up for their deficiencies, okay? Then we have Curly's wife. My students would see her as like evil or the seductress trying to hurt Lenny. But really, it's beauty is the only power that she has. All right, she has no actual power in this world. So what does she have? She has her beauty. She has being able to tempt men. Really, she's not evil. She's a tragic figure. Number 3, hopes and dreams. Lenny is told this fairy tale by George, how they're going to one day buy a farm of their own, and there's going to be rabbits on this farm, and Lenny is going to get to take care of the rabbits. Now, George in his heart knows that this dream is probably never going to come true, but he knows that he needs to feed this to Lenny. He needs to let Lenny feel like there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. Steinbeck is a critic of the American world and the American way of life. He felt that the American population was also being fed these lies of a great future that wasn't going to come. Number 4, Lenny's death. Are you sitting down? Okay, Lenny dies. I know. It's very, very sad. We talked earlier about how Lenny had that habit with rabbits and puppies and small animals of petting them too hard and killing them. Well, this does not end with animals, unfortunately. He starts stroking Curly's wife's hair because he thinks that it's beautiful. He thinks that she's beautiful. Unfortunately, he's going a little too hard on her hair, and she panics, and Lenny winds up killing her. At this point, George knows that if the other farmhands, especially Curly, if they get hold of Lenny, they're going to torture him. They're going to make it a brutal death. So George takes Lenny down by the river, tells him the story about having their own farm and taking care of the rabbits, and shoots Lenny in the back of the head.
Be the alfalfa for the rabbits.
The rabbits.
And I get the tender rabbits.
He knows that he has to kill his best friend because whatever the punishment's going to be from the others will be far worse than what he could do. It's a very tragic ending. Number 5, the title. The title of Mice and Men is borrowed from a Robert Burns poem called To a Mouse. It's from the perspective of a farmer who's plowing and accidentally runs over a mouse and the mouse's nest, totally destroying it, killing the mouse. And there's a line in there about the best laid schemes of mice and men. And the farmer laments right there about how it doesn't matter if you're a mouse or a man, you're still a mortal. You're still subject to fate, okay? And that's what happens with Lenny and George. They're subject to fate. They don't have control of their own destiny. Maybe really none of us do. Bonus, the original title for this book was called Something Happened. It doesn't sound like it really means much, and I think that was the point that Steinbeck was trying to make, that we think of Lenny's death as this tragedy, and the moment is a tragedy, but in the big scheme of the world, his death is just something that happened. Well, that's it for Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. If you have any books that you want us to do in the future, be sure to leave us a comment, follow us on social media, share us, let everybody know about Bus Notes.